at the center of many communities. It's the local park that runs through the heart of it.
Este parque es de la Raza.
Nestled in Denver's Sunnyside neighborhood, the park has only been officially known as La Raza, which translates to the people, for several months. But to its lifelong neighbors,
it'll always be a central resource.
Like Diane Medina, it's always been La Raza Park.
Because I used to like to hear the kids playing at the playground.
She, along with community advocates,
it looks better than it did a few years ago.
Like Jay Alire and his wife Esther Acosta, tell the story of the park's past.
The young people took over those parks.
And young people, he says, kicked off the advocacy for change. In 1931, this was known as Columbus Park. The neighborhood increasingly shifted to hold a population where the majority were Latino. In the late 60s and early 70s, the park was a staple for Colorado's Chicano movement, and it looked a lot different too. A community pool became a popular cool-down spot for all to enjoy.
The swimming pool was where we hung out.
Arturo Rodriguez, known as Bones by friends and neighbors, is another longtime advocate.
We didn't have rec centers. We didn't have a lot of things. We had this park seasonally.
There was a desire for a name change to better reflect the community, among other things.
We had demands. We wanted the park change. We wanted jobs, for youth in the neighborhood. We wanted an upkeep of the park. We wanted amenities that came with the public park. Once we empowered ourselves, we started getting involved in civics, organizing and so forth.
And in part, this led to the organization of protests at the park throughout the 70s and 80s. City leaders would not budge on changing the name back then, and at times the protests led to confrontations with police at the park. As for the community pool, neighbors say plumbing issues led to consistently high costs for maintenance, and in the early 80s, it was removed. Fast forward to this year, and all the advocacy was eventually rewarded with what many call a first step. The park got its official name after Denver City Council approved the change last December.
To get the name officially changed, it means a lot for the community.
A large pyramid called a kiosco is now at the center of the park, but concerns over the park's upkeep remain.
Making sure the grass is green, making sure the trees are cut. Put lines for the basketball court, because that always gets used.
We don't have a lot of the same services in the park that they do in Southeast Denver.
And I've asked for a new playground for 3 years.
A spokesperson for the city's Parks and Rec department says $350,000 is set aside for funding a new playground. It's part of the La Raza Park project, which is slated to begin design in 2022. But there are still no funding plans for a new pool.
Putting in a pool would be probably millions of dollars.
Amanda Sandoval is the Denver City Councilwoman for District 1, where La Raza Park sits. She says she's open to the idea.
And so we'd have to be creative. Could we come up with a public-private partnership? Are there other people who could play a role in helping us with that money? And so making sure that that's what the community would like to see at that park.
Because to the people of the Chicano community and many more, La Raza Park is not just a park.
But it also has the history of young people making a change during the movement where they wanted things better for themselves, better for their families.
Luis De Leon, 9 News.